Are you overthinking and worrying too much? It's time to get rid of it. Come in. Hello, dear friend. If you're one of those people who always overthinks, your mind is probably working like a machine, constantly running. Whether you're drinking tea, coffee, or talking to someone, you're inclined to think of the worst possible scenario in every situation. Well, this video is just for you. In this video, I want to talk about how you can manage and take control of overthinking. If you're ready, let's get started. For people who overthink, there's always something they feel is missing because they constantly think like this. What else could I have done? What's missing? But what I want to tell you is that generally, people with this mindset have already done everything they could. What do I mean by that? Sometimes I meet mothers who talk about being insufficient as a mother. But usually, people who feel insufficient or incomplete in a particular area have already done everything possible in that area. They get so focused on reaching perfection that they tend to always look for what's missing in themselves. If you're one of these people, I want you to remember this. You've already done everything you could. If there was something else to do, you would have done it or found it. Right now, you're feeling bad just because you're going over it again and again. You've done everything you could. Stay calm, champion. Overthinkers take their thoughts very seriously. It feels as though we're actually living through, doing, or going to do the things we think about. But a person has thousands of thoughts running through their mind in a day, and almost 99% of those thoughts are useless. Let me explain this with an example. Imagine you're standing on a busy street and thousands of people are walking past you. You look at each person's walk, face, and expressions and think, this person meant this person wanted to do that, this person is thinking this. Actually, thoughts are just thoughts, and you shouldn't take them that seriously. I recommend you remember that most of your thoughts could be useless. Here's something interesting. We can do everything right in life, put in all our effort, and even show extraordinary effort, but the result can be failure. The outcome can be filled with mistakes. This comes from the illusion that we can control everything. Even if we do everything, the result may not be as we expected. We cannot control the outcomes. What we can control is the process in the moment. If you remember this, at least you'll feel more relaxed in these situations. When you make a mistake and feel guilty, there's actually no need for that. You're already doing your best. We do our best, and the rest we let go of, we leave to the flow. We say, leave it to God, right? Exactly like that. You just do your best. The outcome is not under your control, and mistakes are a part of reality. Whatever you do, sometimes you will encounter mistakes. At this point, be kind to yourself. Don't overexhaust yourself thinking, I will always be perfect. I will always do the best. You're human. If you remember this and show some compassion to yourself and accept that mistakes are part of life, you will be much happier. Another thing that can help overthinkers relax is, it will never be as bad as you think. Now, when I say this, people often ask, how do you know it won't be bad? I know because of how our mind works. If we're thinking about something bad, we tend to think of it in the worst possible way. And as you think more, your fear and anxiety grow. But in real life, we don't think about solutions or positive outcomes. We only think about the negative side. But in reality, what happens is that when you face a problem, a solution comes with it. The problem is always alleviated by the solution. The second thing is that we always have an adjustment period. Even with unbearable problems, over time, they no longer feel as heavy. We tend to relax, ease up, and calm down. That's why it will never be as bad as you think. When you keep turning those negative scenarios around in your head, I suggest reminding yourself of this. If you look back, you'll realize how you dealt with the things you thought would be terrible and how you handled them. This might have become a habit for some people. What do I mean? You might have seen it from your mother or father. When there's a problem, you feel the need to think about it like a bird for hours. But usually, after thinking about a problem for a while, you already find the solutions. Sometimes this might take a few days, maybe even a couple of weeks. But the more you think, the more you begin to extract the poison from it. This is what we call poisonous thinking. And when that happens, you end up only thinking about the worst possibilities. When the worst possibilities come to mind, do you know what happens? Your anxiety increases, and then it feels like you have to think even more. That's why this is a paradox. It makes things worse for you. If you still can't find a result or solution after thinking, I suggest you find something concrete to focus on instead. You'll feel much better. Trust me. My mum always says, I don't dream because when I do, it always turns out badly. I always get disappointed. But there may be some truth in that. However, I'm someone who enjoys dreaming. Overthinkers are a bit like my mum. They always tend to think of the worst case. And when that happens, do you know what? Good things don't come to their mind. It becomes automatic. As I said earlier, let me go over this one more time. Think about the things you expected to be terrible in the past, things that seemed impossible to get out of, the things you thought you couldn't handle. How did you manage them? We forget about these things. We always find new events to deal with. So, in a calm moment, write down those things you overthought and thought would be terrible. How did the things you experienced in the past turn out? Seeing how they turned out will bring you relaxation about the future, because, as I said earlier, it will never be as bad as you think. When you think intensely, everything usually gets mixed up. It's like fighting smoke in a room. If you want to take control of your thoughts a bit, take a pen and paper and write down what you're anxious about right now, what you're afraid of happening in the future, what's the worst-case scenario, and what's the best-case scenario. If you write them down, it will become much clearer, simpler, and more controllable for you. This is a method that really works, and we use it a lot in therapy. If you can't manage your thoughts, it's possible to trap them in your paper. This will really help you. People struggling with this issue suffer from what we call a wandering mind. They constantly think about the past, the future, regrets about things they did or didn't do, failures, and negative possibilities for the future. By doing this, they miss out on the energy of the present moment. Never forget this. You can only control the present. You have the power to act in the now. If you feel like you're struggling with the past and future, like you're drowning in them, take a moment and shake yourself out of it. Ask yourself, what can I do right now? What can I do with what I have? What is within my power right now? If you ask yourself these questions, you can bring yourself back to the present. If you're here now, you'll feel calmer, stronger, because then you'll be working on problems that you really have power and control over. So, dear friend, do you struggle with overthinking? If you do, how do you deal with this issue? If you share your experiences with us, I'm sure many people will benefit from it. Thank you for listening, beautiful person. Take good care of yourself. See you soon. Goodbye.